Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Indie Comics Talk.
Hey everyone!
Happy Wednesday again. It's always good to do these on New Comic
Happy
Book
Wednesday! Happy belated birthday to Jeremy! Happy my voice is
you.
almost back.
Yeah, lots of
I'm
things to
so
celebrate today. Happy birthday to Idris if you hear
yeah,
this.
girl, you watching? Happy birthday! You better not be watching. You better be partying.
Nah, not watching tonight, but happy birthday anyways. Tonight we have a returning guest on tonight who I think this is fourth or fifth time coming on, Matt,
Pretty
who
countdown.
right now is kickstarting this awesome comic, rearranging everything here to show
I know. I keep
Metal
getting
Eagle.
confused by the blank square in the top corner. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
What is Jeremy doing?
new StreamYard little fun things I can do. But Metal Eagle #1 with Gonzalo Ruggieri.
I've always said Ruggerary. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
We've always sort of either all of our communications are text or email. Your guess is as good as my guess.
I love how in like this day and age with comics that is pretty common, where like creators don't know how to say each other's names, but they have a really rich like text conversation going back and forth between each other.
It's like me and my regulars. Do I know your name? No. Am I gonna ask at this point? God, no. You're just that guy, and I know you, and I know you, but I don't know your name.
But
Yes.
Gonzalo is amazing art, and you worked with kickstarting an art book with Gonzalo last year, right?
Mm.
Yeah, there was a book that he had made that he was taking around in Argentina to different cons that he was going to, and he was looking for sort of more exposure.
Yeah.
So we were able to bring it to North American limited European audience. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a different experience to do an art book, but
yeah, something new to try out.
Yeah,
in the Kickstarter world. But you've been working with him on Metal Eagle and getting it ready to go for a little while now. So I'm excited to see it coming out now with the Kickstarter here.
Yeah, it's been close to, I think, 2 years. We're actually pretty close to done with the fourth and final issue that would be this arc. So we're well ahead of the sort of production game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's more Metal Eagle to come.
So it's time to make the money back that you've been investing into the project and get the story out there for people. So
yeah,
go ahead. No, I was going to ask a follow-up question. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was somewhere before with a publisher. It was taking some time. Was pushed well down the the line of we're going to print this and send this to shops. So the place that it was, they said, hey, we're pausing all creator-owned books.
Yeah.
Let me take this back because I've been kind of sitting on it for a couple of years, and
now you can
I need
get it out there.
I need to, I'm super, excited about this and didn't want to.
It's a fun read. I was sad when it stopped. I was like, wait, what? Hold on. Wait, what? Yeah. Oh, more.
Yeah, I think we all know where the thing has been paused, but I don't want to say out loud. So
yeah, no, that's all right. So for those that haven't seen you posting about it, don't know what Metal Eagle is, what is the story about?
Yeah, so it's set in the early 90s. I've actually done a bit of research. A lot of the stuff is kind of historically accurate. 1990, 1991, sort of glam rock, hair metal. Your Poisons, your Warrants, your Motley Crues, they're about to be replaced by Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all of those, grunge bands that are about to make the scene. But before that happens, the CIA has an idea that they want to create a heavy metal band, sort of glam rock heavy metal band, as a front.
I love
Take
it.
4 CIA agents and travel around. We start off in Eastern Europe, and just travel around different places of Europe. And the cover is that they're a heavy metal band, sort of going to dive bars at night, and then spying around different operations that pop up. But the basic premise is a heavy metal band made up of 4 CIA agents that are spying and then traveling around in their tour bus, which has a television that reports back to the director of the CIA, fax machines, old rotary phones, the huge Zach Morris, Saved by the Bell, early 90s cell phone. All that technology has been a lot of fun to research.
The physical thing he holds up as like the piece of data that they retrieved, I was just like, it's not
That's
not a thumb drive.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like in like a good way. I was like, I mean, that's nice because it wouldn't have been a little like thumb drive.
Yeah, a lot of times when we're doing a page, Gonzalo will be like, "Hey, do you have any reference for this?" Or, what are you thinking here? So, quick Google, and I'll be like, early 90s tech, or stuff like that. So we'll find something that, is so outdated. Everybody has like a supercomputer in their pocket right now that can find out anything in a couple of moments.
Not even a floppy file.
Yeah.
Something completely different. I was just like, I love it.
Because floppies, I think, even weren't around. Well, maybe they were around in the early 90s, but they were bigger in like the mid to late 90s, I feel like, of those floppy disks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have even been historically accurate at that time anyways.
Yeah, no, it's weird to do all this research and try to place people in historically accurate events, or to sort of build off of conspiracy theories, urban legends.
Mm-hmm.
It's really strange how many urban legends are in the music industry, but also obviously in international intrigue and in spying like that. So that was a lot of fun to sort of like combine those.
That's great.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
And even with like the subject matter of what we're talking about with the spying and the whole like between US and Russia and during that time period, there's so many conspiracy theories and different things that you can explore to tie in everything, which is super nice.
Yeah. Issue 1, they're in Moldova, and I just randomly Google search, like, give me like Eastern European, Soviet possibly controlled state, and then we all know now the terrors and the horrors that are going on in the Ukraine, and then you turn on the news, you see a map, and I see Moldova just like down there, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy, because I just randomly picked this country to set the first issue in, but now I see it on the news all the time.
Yeah, because present day they're afraid that there's going to be the Russians going to go over for Moldova too.
Yeah, that unfortunately, if you think about it, that could be the. I'm doing my hand like I have a map in front of me.
I vaguely understand the hand shaping.
That movement through the Ukraine south and in this direction.
I see exactly where you're pointing in my head. My own map. It's going. So yeah, Metal Eagle. Why call it Metal Eagle as the band? Like, what was there a band inspiration there that you pulled from, or just
can I guess like, because it's the metal band of America? And
I thought if the CIA, like, you got a bunch of high level guys in a boardroom that are in international,
They're high collar nerds.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like they would come up with the most cheesy name for obviously a heavy metal band that has this like patriotic, thing going on behind it. So I just was like, this is something that they would be like, this is so cool, but it's also so spot on, and it's like metal, and it's
considering how many like FBI bros live and work where I am. I'm just like,
They go for this.
It's
I get this is the vibe. That is the vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but it's also like to the point, like and it's like, why would you name your band Metal Eagle? Because you're kind of telegraphing like what it is. It's like it's metal and it's also American. Like you're not even like being that discreet about it.
It's
at least
too
they didn't
obvious.
call them the sneaky Metal Eagles.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
The Metal Eagle spies.
Yeah.
Birds aren't real.
Hold on. Yeah. And it's one of the things, well, it's not right here, but one of your cover artists is another one of your frequent collaborators.
Yeah.
Wilson, which loving the homage here.
Yeah. I was like, a band, an iconic cover, like what could we do? So, I'm searching like Google Images, and like Wilson also sort of nailed the hairstyles that Gonzalo was giving everybody. And it took a little while for me. A lot of times, I struggle over like, what am I going to call this thing? What's the way to word this thing? And I was like, it's the Guns N' Roses album is Appetite for Destruction, but we went with Applications of Deception because that's the sort of the spy angle of it. So one of those moments of inspiration where I don't have to like sit in front of a blinking cursor like, what am I going to call?
Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just what comes to mind first. It's not always to trick yourself.
Yeah, I used to beat myself up about like names, like character names or like title names.
As people who have derailed a Dungeon Masters campaign to name someone Fancy Pants, don't worry about it.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry about it.
I mean,
name them whatever you want.
The thing I'm working on, I've literally called The Geese.
Okay.
And it's a horror story about geese.
Nice.
So I went real creative with that naming.
Yeah, I don't know how many documents I have that are like, I'll put something and it'll be like working title, just to just have something down. And I'm like, later I might be, in my car or walking the dog, and I'm like, that thing that I called this as a working title would actually be much more creative or to the point.
Yeah.
Of like calling it this, but like sometimes just getting that working title down is just what you need to do.
Just
move your brain on to that next step of the creation process.
Yeah, when I'm struggling, I like to think about the Neil Gaiman, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but there's a Neil Gaiman quote about how you can't have a second draft until you have like a shitty first draft. So like,
he would hate me. I don't know how to rough draft. I constantly edit as I go.
Oh no!
I have no idea how to write a rough draft because I'll go back and be like, oh wait, I can make this make better sense with like these 3 words, and I switch it, and then I'm like, right, and back. I can't. So ADHD. I don't know how to rough draft.
No,
my rough drafts in high school and college, I would turn them in, and like it would just be grammar. Oh. That's all. They would just be grammar, and like maybe a few run-on sentences, and they're like, I don't have anything else for you. And I'm like, I'm aware this is a final draft. I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop in the middle. I outline, I write.
Yeah, early on, I was so like hung up on like this person's name has to be like perfect. Like
you just control F and change them all at once.
And then it'd be like random name of a baseball player and a random name of like a political figure. That's the person's name. And like just to like But yeah, I used to really beat myself up about like, this name's got to be perfect, but it's like, and thankfully I don't.
We can't pronounce them anyway.
Yeah, and thankfully I don't write like early on. I wanted to write like fantasy prose, and I'm like, oh, this guy has to have like a really cool name, like Frodo Baggins, and I'm like, let me hit like random characters on my keyboard and like try to get started.
Let me mumble my order at Starbucks real quick.
Fantasy, like honestly, yeah, just keyboard mash a little bit and see what happens.
Yeah,
you don't like how it looks.
I gave my D&D character a name that had actual meaning via the like characters in Elvish, a la the way that you would in Mandarin, and that is how Ashwin got her name, by the way. And Talia, Talia Nivane has a whole ass meaning in a whole other language.
Oh, did not know that. I mean, I just said, you know what, Robin Hood.
I wanted things that sounded
J.
cool
Cowell.
When my daughter was in elementary school, we went to a musical recital, and she gets the program, and she's reading through it, and she's just looking for names that she knows, and she hands me the program, and she's like, "What is this name?" And I look at it, and there's just like a million O's and U's and L's in it, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I think it might be Elvish. And my wife is like, you can't say things like that, and like hits me in the shoulder in front of like all the people around us. So
I mean, I have met some children with some fantasy names from some fantasy series.
Nice.
Rolling some letters.
Listen. I could find my character sheet and actually tell you what it means, but it means like Sapphire Knight and like Silver something, and then Ashwin has something to do with like death, and then like the sound of death, essentially.
Sapphire Knight.
One of them is a lovely elf, and the other one is a necromancing drow. It's fine.
That might have to be a B-side to a Metal Eagle album, the Ballad of the Sapphire Knight or something like that.
There we go.
She's blue, and she's got bluish white hair.
Nice.
Yeah.
I went into it. I had a problem. It's called attention disorders. Hyperfixation happens. They'll let me name your characters. It'll be like 4 levels.
Do you feel like, now that you've been creating longer, you don't spend as much time, or kind of have you found a way to like get past that block on naming things?
Yeah. A lot of times, I'll be completely honest with you. Not all of the members of Metal Eagle have been named at this point.
Just make one of them Kevin. It's my favorite thing.
We've got Kevin, Jimmy, and Mitchell. Is that it?
Yeah, Mitchell.
Because Mitchell has the story.
Yeah, he has the backup that Wilson drew. That was part of my Carnival Barker Stan Lee. I had to do the alliteration. Mitchell. I think it's like Mitchell the Mouth. Something, but yeah, a lot of times in the script it's like bass player does this, drummers in the corner doing tech stuff. A lot of times I have it set up where like the drummer is the tech guy, the bass player can sort of be the bruiser if they get into a fight, and I like the aspect. The singer always like is like, hey, do these people know who we are? Like, aren't we great? Like, he has sort of like the lead singer syndrome where he thinks he's the star of the show a lot. So
of course,
but yeah, they're actually not all named at this point. So
yeah, they don't need names.
There's always a Kevin.
Yeah,
there's always a Kevin. I do Devin. Love how like you said, this whole technology thing of like, here's this TV that's broadcasting the video of their contact back at the FBI or CIA, and just like they're traveling around and the TV's picking up the broadcast and telling them what to do.
You can tell it's staticky.
Yeah, but he's got that like, yeah, go do good attitude like emanating from him.
It's very Charlie's Angels Charlie.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's in issue 2, there's a flashback, and Gonzalo did this really cool thing where all the panels are sort of they're in black and white and gray tones because we've gone back to WW2 to like fill in a story. But the CIA director is in the middle on the television, sort of narrating like what happened, what we need to do, and he's in color, but there's like the interference on the television, like the signal's not good, and like Gonzalo like nails that perfectly. So like the panels telling like the action are in black and white, but the narration and like
that's awesome.
You need to move the story forward through the television in the center in color. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Love it. I love when comics don't just like stick to like here the entire comic, the whole story has panel.
Yeah.
Like when it takes a break from that to use like a whole page, 2 pages to do something creative like that.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. Early on in my creative career, I made the mistake of trying to jam like 15 panels in a page, which the artist would quickly was like, not gonna work. I'm not doing 15 panel pages. So
I know you're a fan of Tom King. Yeah. Is that why? Is that why lots of panels happened?
I was like extreme Tom King, where Tom King was like 9 panel grids. I'm like, hey, what do you think about 15 panel grids? And the artist was like, not drawing that. This page that you thought was 2 pages is or 1 page is now 2 pages. Now I get really itchy if it's like mentally in my head. If it's more than 6 panels or 7 panels, I'm like, you need to get to the point, buddy, and accomplish one thing on this page, move the story along, but like you can't slow everything down. This first issue is a very fast issue. It's really fast, which is something that
I like it. I like it. I don't want to be sitting and reading something for like, unless it's a graphic novel, I don't need like a long read.
Yeah.
There's an extensive read.
There's times where I'm like, I want to sit down and, we mentioned Tom King earlier, like Rorschach. I'm gonna read Rorschach, and that's gonna be like a slog to get through, but I'm gonna really enjoy it. But then I'm gonna look at my stack, and there's a Daredevil comic, and I'm like, I know that this is gonna be like dudes and dudettes jumping off of buildings, fighting each other. Something's gonna go bad, and then it's gonna be fixed. And like sometimes I just need that palate cleanse to do that.
This was like a super quick read I had today.
Okay.
I was just like, it's cool art. There's not always a lot of dialogue, and like, there's 2 pages, and I would just flip through that, but it's cool to look at. Spoilers, I guess, if anyone's reading that, and I haven't gotten to read it yet, but yeah, no, like that sometimes you need that quicker read, but is still super enjoyable, and you get to like have fun for a couple minutes with it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you want to sit down and just be like, all right, let's think about this one a lot more. And like you said, Tom King does that a lot.
Yeah, no, it's I enjoy the sort of the dichotomy of it, of like, really fast, or like I need to sit there. Like I try to read Watchmen like once a year, but like that does take a while, because you're just like,
that's impressive.
9 panels of like people just talking, and like you read an issue and you're like, all right, I'm gonna set this aside. And I'm gonna come back to like this issue, and it's
that was a nice bit of emotional effort.
Yeah. So like some of like the mangas I read, I like because it's just like it's a lot of action and a little bit lighter on the dialogue, so you get to kind of take a break from the heavy dialogue stuff. I know Caroline and I have talked about it before. With if there's a lot of words in a comic, she's done. Too wordy.
Just kind of goes to the "I'll look at you later." It's never gonna get looked at again.
Yeah.
and again, there's like a Neil Gaiman quote about how many like words you should be able to fit on a page. I don't remember exactly what it is, but
there's also too many words on a page sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sandman has, I mean, I finally read the first like 20 issues of Sandman, and it's got a decent mix, but it's wordy at times.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning more so.
That's a way to put it.
And,
yeah.
It's working out really well, but like, you know, it's a fast-paced issue, but like, you know, I don't want to cover up all Gonzalo's amazing art with,
yeah.
And it's the old adage of show don't tell. Like you gotta, you know,
yeah,
you gotta do that. You gotta try to master that.
Yeah.
What was really interesting was some of those. I don't know if you guys have read those, but the first couple of issues of American Vampire, where it was Scott Snyder and Stephen King. Like Stephen King was like, you know, he would have a character who's like, as you know, I'm walking through the door right now to, you know, yell at you and tell you who I am and what I'm going to do.
My least favorite type of writing. And I think that's why I really struggled with that series, because I was just like, but why?
Yeah.
This is why Stephen King doesn't write comics.
But why? Oh, that's why. That's why. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's the only reason.
Or the
millions
of dollars that he's making from all the wonderful prose work that he's
writing. No, it's only because his wordiness as a comics writer.
Well, he's probably looking at like how much I'm struggling to get my Kickstarter going, and he's like, or I could write this book that's going to pull in millions of dollars. So, but
yeah, I mean that. Kickstarters right now are definitely having to fight a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot of Kickstarters I see that would normally like they've been funded within first 2 weeks are not quite pushing it till the very end.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it has to do with people wanting to wait and see what other stuff gets unlocked on other things as well.
Yeah.
Like that's the unfortunate part is a lot of people are like, well, I want to wait because I want blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's a lot more of a wait and see kind of thing.
But if you pledge now,
that's very true, and you
can it'll unlock.
Pledging early helps to allow creators to know what they can do in terms of pushing to the stretch goals, to all that extra stuff that you can throw into a Kickstarter. But
instead of waiting until you know it's already going to happen, you might be the person that makes it happen.
Yeah, like I know. Travis right now has got Expired 2 up right now, and it's not quite funded yet still. And it's in its last 48 hours. And like he never, I feel like, struggles to fund anything.
Yeah, I was in trying to think of what it was, Concrete Arcanum with Travis, and Travis was like, I've never been in a campaign that has failed, and like we were like 3 hours away from maybe making it, not making it, and we made it. So that kept the streak alive. So hopefully we can keep that going with Expired 2.
Yeah. What strategies do you use with Kickstarter to help get the word out there and expose people to it?
So I'm a pretty prolific poster. Everywhere, like you know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I don't get a lot of action off of Tumblr.
I no longer use my Tumblr, but you know,
I haven't touched Tumblr in a long time.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, I'm maybe it's a bit of my OCD nature, but I'm like, all right, this is going on Facebook, this is going on Twitter, this is going on IG. And then
I do have different personalities on all the social media.
And then I hit some of the like the lower tier ones where I'm like, I don't mean lower tier in a bad way, but so the ones that you don't really think of, like Tumblr, Pinterest.
Yeah.
I guess maybe a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago, there was, you know, everybody was like, hey, am I going to stay on Twitter? Am I going to leave Twitter? Am I going to go here?
Make a hive?
I'm on some of those other platforms.
There's Be Real, that's one.
Yeah.
But that's like you take a picture.
Yeah, like it goes off
day.
in like whatever you're looking at, whatever you're doing at that time, you just take a picture of it and you post it. It's not supposed to be good.
Yeah. Did you see the? I think it was a Saturday Night Live where they're like, "We should do this."
Oh yeah.
And they were robbing a bank, and they got the alert, and they're like, "Hey, guess what we're doing right now? We're robbing a bank," and like, just.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
I don't know if you're on there. Maybe the artist is on DeviantArt.
Yeah, I believe Gonzalo might be. Gonzalo, I think, is mostly like an IG poster, which probably is fairly common for folks that are artists. It's like immediate. It's so many connections with other visual images and people who are doing cool stuff. I feel like a lot of artists are that way. Like my creative partner Noah, he's not on a lot of platforms, but he
got the Instagram.
He does the IG, and I did create
Instagram. He's got Instagram down.
Yeah,
that boy knows how to take a picture for the internet.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. One time, when Noah and I still lived in the same neighborhood, I went over. It was sort of early COVID. We were figuring everything out. The Black Widow movie on Disney Plus. So Noah sets up a projector in his backyard so we can all watch it safely.
Aww.
And I walk. We're in the same neighborhood, so I go over to watch it, and he introduces me to his dad as his creative partner. So yeah.
Love it.
It was fun the amount of times I had to, because I'm sure you heard the joys of our travels back, but the amount of times I had to explain that while we were traveling together, we were not together, and we did not want to share anything at any point at all. We're like, nope, it's not like nope, your assumptions are violently incorrect.
So did you have the fun of walking around with Noah with sensory overload, where he's like, the thing over here, this thing over there?
Oh no, because you put two ADHD motherfuckers in a foreign country together, and together we could navigate.
Okay. Together,
we made one complete. But he would stop to take pictures, and I would notice myself walking ahead, and I would just stop, and he'd be like, "Sorry."
Yeah, I'm a bit.
Take your pictures. It's London. I'm gonna stop at some point and take random pictures.
I'm a bit OCD, so like we'll walk into a con to get set up, and he'll be like,
"Oh, it was." I mean, we just fed off of that energy.
No,
we were like, "Look at that!
We're going over here. This is our table number. We need to get there right now." I'm like,
the other times we would like be looking down alleyways as we were walking by them. And it's like, maybe we should. What's over there?
So when you got your picture taken with Ewan McGregor, right?
Yes.
Did he tell me he every time he had to say hello? Well, hello there when people walk in.
Right? He technically, like, R2 is here because he had COVID restrictions. Okay. So like he wasn't technically supposed to touch you, and there was supposed to be a lightsaber, but that didn't happen. But like our pinkies are touching.
You violated the rules.
He also shook everyone's hand and thanked them for coming. He was so very polite and like very upset at the fact that he couldn't like hug and like interact with people. But very cool. Yeah, it was great. It was 10 out of 10. The lady was like, "Look how big you're smiling." Also, all my mom's friends thought Noah was some other famous person from Star Wars. They were like, "Well, that's your daughter, and that's Ewan McGregor, but who's that guy? What's he from? What does he do?" And they're like,
into the world.
Her friend. And they're like, "Oh, we thought he was famous too."
He's space Tom Selleck, right?
Yeah. Oh, I was like, that's great. I love your friends, Mom. We're gonna tell them that Noah's famous now.
He is.
He's a celebrity. He's
a very famous comic artist and letterer.
Yeah, we did a hotel.
Andy Serkis one, but we also met Andy Serkis.
Nice.
Oh, he's in a thing because I took him to look at frame sizes.
We met the guy who was Darth Vader in Rogue One.
Yeah, he was at one of the things. He was there.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people there.
It was a pop and horror con, so Noah and I were selling like our superhero science fiction dinosaurs fighting comics, and like we weren't getting a lot of action, like people coming, so we were kind of bored, and I snuck away, and I might have had a couple of beverages that I was enjoying, and
you would never.
I challenged that guy to a bicep off. You know, I was like, I did the whole, do you even lift, bro? And he was like, no, just don't start with me. But we got him to like choke us, which was
cool. Fun.
So
that's great.
He's more than willing to choke us at that point of the day. So
I mean, if he's using the force, he doesn't need to have biceps.
That's very true.
But like, also to be strong in the force, one must be strong in other ways, in both the mind and body.
Fair.
He's a big dude, and like that end of like Rogue One is so amazing, because when you think about like when you watch like A New Hope, and it's like Alec Guinness and whoever's in what's the guy's name that's Darth Vader, but they're like 60, 70-year-old guys are like, like, and they're just like, they're not moving, they're just like barely, and then like he's like,
now the things that they make him do.
Yeah.
Now all the jumps and tricks and flips and spins.
Were there any Dr. Afros there?
Yeah, I want to say there were at least 5. I was counting at one point, and then I lost count, and I was like, I don't know if I've already taken, because a lot of people wore the same cosplay for a few days, and I was like, I think I met you already.
I remember you posting like Afro number 1, number 2.
There were at least 5 of them. I didn't also manage to stop all of them, but it was great.
Very cool.
One of them gave me a sticker.
Nice.
She was great. I followed a couple of them. A handful of them like had things to give out with like their Instagrams and all that stuff. A lot of Sabines. That was great. That was really fun. Very, very, very excited for that. A lot of Chopper and Chopper related content.
Very cool.
Everybody's favorite murderous being, 50K kill count. What up, y'all?
So many announcements and things during all that.
I want to go back.
Watching them while it was happening.
I want to go back.
I saw a little bit of it, but I didn't pay attention too much of it.
The Visions panel still might be my favorite. Like, Bad Batch was great. Ahsoka was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy I got to go to both of those. Obi-Wan, incredible. Andor, phenomenal. But like, oh no, Noah and I both were like, we gotta, like, we're going to Vision. We will like shove people out of the way. We were 4th row back, and like not the center group, but the side to the right, looking up at the thing on the edge. I was sitting on the edge, and Noah was next. We were just like, this is so great.
So was Daisy Ridley there?
She was at the Lucasfilm panel. Okay. That was when they announced that they're doing the 3 movies. So Filoni's doing a movie. Helen? No? Margaret.
I don't remember. I don't remember her.
Chow. I remember the last name. She's getting a movie. The one who did Obi-Wan. And then somebody else is getting a movie. And I am so bad at this game. But there's 3 new movies coming out. And they're all being directed by really big deal people. And Daisy Ridley is going to essentially start the new Jedi Order. They put out like the actual factual timeline of like what everything is now, and they're like, okay, so we're gonna have Filoni's doing a movie that's gonna tie up the Mandalorian and that little subplot and get the Crimson Reign kind of kick-started and the Crimson Empire going, and handle his characters that he's created and kind of babied into the world, and go.
Yeah.
Did anybody ask like the casting director if he has a certain type? Because if you look at like Daisy Ridley, Jen Erso, and
there's only young white women in space with brown hair.
They're all like attractive, like brunette British ladies.
As someone who eventually wants to cosplay, I cannot complain about this, but
They have made the characters for you to cosplay now.
It's very easy, and yet I still have not done it. I'm over here like, let me get that Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
The spray paint complicated Mandalorian armor.
Sabine's armor.
Yeah. Or let me be Hera with the freaking Lekus.
My favorite lazy cosplay ever was I was at Awesome Con in Washington D.C. Total government corporate town. This lady comes in, clearly had just left work, red hair, in a suit. She has a clipboard, and she just slapped Start Tech on the back of it. She's like, "Hey, I'm Pepper Potts," and I'm like, "Hey, you just left work, and you."
I mean, putting
a
Start shifts, right?
That's perfect.
Yeah,
it's great.
I don't think I have a close enough look to any character anywhere that I can just be like, slap a sticker on something and I am.
Someday I'll do Wanda. Someday I'll do Padme or Leia or Rey.
I feel like Afra will happen first.
Afra, so there were two people that had her tattoos as actual factual tattoos inked into their skin. I was like, whoa, how did you? And they're like, I did that. And I was like,
and you're like, that's what I want to
do. Don't give me ideas.
If you could dreamcast Dr. Afra, who's
Chloe Bennett.
Okay.
Singularly and exclusively, that's who I want to play. If it's not her, I will not be mad. I just think she's a she's what, when I think of her, that's who she looks like. And she knows Ming-Na Wen, right? And she knows Jon Favreau.
Yep.
She's got her 2 degrees from Dave Filoni.
Nice.
Like, just give it to her. I think she would be great. But I also am very, very pro new person, somebody who's never done it before. And like, you could pick any accent you want. Like, you could go with someone who's New Zealander or Australian, or I wouldn't go like European, but
Yeah.
It was like Scarlett Johansson.
I mean, you know what? As long as they put the tattoos on her in the right side.
I feel like that would just be like another bad casting of her.
Yeah. So related.
No, Mara Jade wouldn't be unspeakable, but I would also, rather a natural redhead. But that's just
related to the weird or the bad casting of Scarlett Johansson. I was at.
She says she could play a tree, so.
When the Ghost in the Shell thing was happening, I actually have 2 Ghost in the Shell stories. I was at a workshop, and everybody's like going around, and they're telling their opinions of it, and I'm very quiet. I'm just sitting there and I'm drawing, and it gets to me, and they're like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Hey, straight white male, you can put Scarlett Johansson in anything, and I'm okay with it. I understand what you guys are saying, but but my other Scarlett Johansson story is I took my son to see Fantastic Beast early on for like a birthday party. They showed the Ghost in the Shell trailer, and I'm sitting in there with like a whole bunch of like 8-year-old boys, and she's standing on top of the building, and she takes the trench coat off. All of these boys go, "What movie is this?" And I'm like, "Calm down, sit down, be quiet. We're in public here right now. Like, chill out." So.
I've met her. She's a lovely woman. She's incredibly small.
Your bathroom.
That's all I can say. Yep. I ran into her in the bathroom in Cinderella's castle.
Nice.
Literally.
Does she get like free passes, like as a Disney?
Mm-hmm. Yep. If you're a Disney VIP, you literally get walked around the park all day with a VIP person. Yeah. If you're a part of the family, everything is free. You don't do shit. You don't wait for shit. All the princesses went to her table first. That's how we knew it was her.
Very cool.
It was really cool though. She was really nice.
Well,
she could tell I was having a mild panic attack in the mirror, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Nope, you're being a mom right now. I'm not gonna ask for a picture in the bathroom while your kid is screaming. I'm not doing that today."
probably happy that you didn't.
I was just like, thanks, nice to meet you.
I was
cool.
at Baltimore Comic Con and I was walking around and I think Carl Urban was there to like promote like The Boys or something like that early on. So I'm like walking and he like walks in front of me and I like pause and I'm like, I stop for a second and he realizes that like I recognize him and he just gives me a head nod. But I'm just like, dude, you're way too like handsome to just be like walking around like a Comic-Con. Like
You're gonna get attacked.
Yeah, you need to.
Can I offer you like security or?
I'll just like take the hits for you, bro.
Yeah.
No, on our way out of Cinderella's castle. Now, mind you, she's there with her boyfriend, now husband at the time, who's on SNL. And we're walking out of Cinderella's castle and we're going to go to the rides because we were there for Halloween stuff, so like nighttime things were happening. And this woman walks past us and it takes us like 2 seconds and we go, was that? And we just turn around and simultaneously my best friend and I just shout, Leslie! At the top of our lungs because it was Leslie Jones. Nice. And she just turns around and goes, girls! And then we both just turn around and keep going. And we were like, okay, that happened.
She has acknowledged us.
We're like that we yelled at each other across the Disneyland plateau. We're fine.
I saw Klaus Janson on the street outside of like obviously he was on the way to like he was on his way to AwesomeCon, so like it's the middle of DC and like nobody knows who he is, but like I'm the guy going, hey, Dark Knight, and like nobody cares what I'm talking about. So like there's like that's just some old white dude with no hair walking down the street. I'm like, no, that's Klaus Janson. Yeah.
It's like being in comics and being fan of comics, you're like, this is a celebrity. The rest of the world, nah, just some dude.
Yeah, I think Jason Aaron talks about how like when he goes to a con, like inside the building, he's like a big deal, but as soon as he leaves the building, like nobody in the world has an idea of like who he is.
Just kind of nice. I mean, for living his life, like any of them, like to be able to live their life normally and nobody really know who they are. They can go to the grocery store
until the moment when they want people to know who they are.
Yeah,
and they just put up a little sign with, "Boop, here's my name.
Yep,
you read my book. I know you did.
I did this, which has been a movie also, or a TV show, or like I bet Brian K. Vaughan can walk around and like nobody knows who he is, but like he's got
the day I see Kieran Gillen in person, I'm afraid for that man. And everybody around us, because I will be tackling a tall, lanky, white, bald Englishman. Well, he's Scottish, I believe, but nonetheless, Irish, one of them.
When we were at Heroes Con, Noah and I cornered Ben Templesmith, and I don't know if you've ever seen Ben Templesmith at a con, but he's always like almost always like in a 3-piece suit with a tie on.
Nice.
He's very like dapper. So we're having a good time. It's late in the evening. We might have consumed a couple of beverages, and we go up and we're like, oh, Ben Templesmith, blah 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 blah, and he is like, so to distract us, because he clearly doesn't want to be in a conversation with us, he goes like this. He goes, hey, look, there's Justin Jordan over there. We're like, oh, and like so we like run over, like talk. And he clearly just like he's like, I don't want to deal with these dudes, so I'm going to point out another dude to like, distract them.
Sorry, Justin.
They secretly have like a feud going between them, and that was his attack.
Yeah, he's like
they count to see who can send more people to each other.
I don't want to deal with it. Yeah, I think he was pretty annoyed with us because I thought he was British, but apparently he's Australian. And Noah asked him if he knew this Australian YouTuber, and his response was, Australia is a very big country and we don't all know each other. So no, I don't know who that guy is. So.
Sorry, I asked you if you know another lightly famous person from your own country, bro.
I just picked up something. We had a local like library, friends of the library sale, and I just picked up something that was a Ben Templesmith book. but I can't remember the name of what it was. It was something that came from Image.
There was a couple of books that I read that he did a while ago. I can't remember exactly what they were, but there was a lot of like vampire sort of lore and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. He's got a really cool style. So.
Yeah, it looked really good, and it was like $2 for the trade. And I was like, yeah, I picked up a bunch of things that are like $1 to $3 for trades. I was like, cool. All right. So, you know, not that I have time to read any of these.
I've gotten manga from library sales like that before where they're real cheap. They're stamped, but you're like, but I want the book. So.
Yeah. I don't care about any of that stuff on it.
I just want to be able to physically hold it in my hands and read it and not have to give it back.
Whenever I find Paranormal Hitman like in a dollar bin, I pick it up. And the place that's near my house, like they had like 2 or 3 copies in a dollar bin, so I pick it up, and the guy's going, and he's like, why'd you get like 3 copies of this? And I'm like, I'm in this book. And he was like, what? And so like I pull out my driver's license and I flip to the title page, and he's like, I don't care. And I'm like, I'm in this book, and he's like, I don't care. He's like, give me my $3.
Yeah, please pay me.
Yeah.
You had 2 backup stories in that, right?
Yeah. 2 and 3. We had the backup, and I'm credited as the editor, but that was the easiest editing job I ever had because Brett and Wilson nailed that, and there was a few times.
Yeah.
And Wilson does such an amazing job for like English not being his first language to letter those things. It's like he nails it. So
maybe it's easier that it's not his first language. He's not too concerned with anything else. He just wants to make sure it looks good.
Yeah, he does a really awesome job. And like I've worked with letterers that are like exactly what you give them is what goes on the page, but then you have a letterer
like he knows how to read it, but he wants it to look good overall before you enjoy the page, then read it.
Yeah. And or letterers that are like, hey, do you really want to do this right here? Or like, I don't think you need this bit of dialogue. But he does an amazing job for not English being a language. So I mean, I can barely speak English, and it's my first language.
Listen, I got C's in English. My writing was great. My grammar is shit.
For somebody who wants to be a writer, my grammar is terrible. So.
Who needs grammar, right? What's the point?
But like when the squiggly lines show up underneath the whole sentence, that's when you fix it, right? That's
when you just tell it my grammar is right. Fuck you, bro.
Hey, sometimes it is wrong. Sometimes it's wrong.
My grammar is never wrong. I don't know what you're saying.
No, the squiggly lines.
Yeah.
It's like my grammar is never wrong. It's constantly wrong. I love a comma.
One day we will.
Great. I just kind of, comma for you, comma for you. You get a comma. You get a comma. Everyone gets a comma.
One of my first jobs, office jobs, professional jobs, one of the guys I was working with, who was a little bit older than me, he had wrote a memo, and I walked up and I was like, you need to fix all of these spelling errors and grammar errors. He's like, oh, my spell check's not working. I'm like, dude, all these squiggly red lines are telling you. He's like, that's what that's doing. I'm like, yes, that's what that's doing.
Lord.
There we go. Yeah. Using a regional dialect.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what region and what dialect, but absolutely.
The region of my apartment.
The region is my brain, and the dialect is my own.
Yes.
It's a unique creation that I alone can use and identify. And sometimes it helps me understand Chopper. Yeah.
There's a point in Metal Eagle. It's not in the preview pages, but as we get to some of the older British rockers, where I had to try to do English, slang and dialect, and there was like, don't say bloke too many times, but you can say mate, hey bloke, hey.
Yeah.
Mate was a good one. Bruv I heard a lot.
Yeah.
they say
Your art
bollocks
buff.
a lot
And
over
you're like,
there.
all right, that's fun. I like that one.
I think apparently bloody booger is like the worst thing you can say.
Oh, interesting.
So we just lost the British audience. They're like, no, that guy just said terrible words.
Oh.
I'm leaving.
I didn't hear other words as much as I thought I would.
You didn't listen into enough conversations. Oh.
People don't swear as much as I thought they would.
They were happy. It was a Star Wars convention.
I mean, like at the pubs.
Ah.
Another shite,
Yeah.
It's fun. I liked the use of bruv though. I thought it was great.
So coming back to what things are available on the Kickstarter, you also have another variant here.
Yeah.
From a creator who is going to be having a book coming from Ageless Press soon, I believe.
Yeah, Clint and Noah are working on something that will probably be taking the Kickstarter very soon. Noah's like writing it. This is the first time for him to, turn over the art duties to somebody else.
Yeah.
So he sent me this, and I was thrilled. Like how he sort of, it's kind of curvy, but it's like how he nailed like the hairstyles that are the same.
Mm-hmm.
The I don't know.
The little whoop.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
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 Johnny
I see a little Johnny Bravo inspiration in there.
And so there's currently three covers. There's the main one from Gonzalo, which is the image that we use a lot. The GNR. The GNR. Yeah, that's the main cover. I think one of the cool things is, and I've discovered this a lot working with Gonzalo. It seems like he gets like into colors, or like a color palette that he's really enjoying. There's a lot of purples early on, Middle Eagle. Then there's a lot of yellows. But yeah,
kind of transitions throughout the story.
Yeah, I was really thrilled about the way we did that credits page, where the creation of the
agent.
Yeah,
I loved that.
He's like the IT guy that comes in with like the heavy metal like T-shirt to fix the TV. So
yeah,
I wanted to do something creative as far as like, you could have sort of like, a dark page like black with just like text like writer artist. So like I have some ideas for the second one. I want like a credit page of like this lady with like really 80s like hair like teased up like, do you guys have the new Metal Eagle record? And she's like looking through records and she's like, it's written by this guy, drawn by Gonzalo, and then like the card's
I love that. That's great.
You know how you get like as comic fans, sometimes you go into a comic store where
y'all got blah blah blah, and it's like, bro, we don't catalog our books that are that old. I'm sorry.
That or like you unfortunately, if you go into a comic shop where they're like, oh, your taste is terrible. Why are you buying this book? Like I just want like the snooty like record store guy would be like, those guys are hacks. They're terrible. Like after like,
why are you reading this? You should be reading this book from this era.
Yeah.
Get like a set list or something. It's credits.
I like that. Yeah. If we can make some stretch goals, I'd like to do like a bookmark that looks like a concert ticket.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, we can do names and stuff like that. But like for people who are very young that probably walk to concerts now where they have their phone has their
ticket. Like a movie ticket.
You actually have to walk up with a piece of paper and like have it ripped and handed back to you to prove that you could prove that you had a ticket. So
yeah. But yeah, $3 for digital, $10 for the regular, $15 for a variant. And this is if you wanted either variant, right? You could click this one and you could choose Clint's or Wilson's?
Yeah, that's the way we're gonna do it. Yeah, I again, it's the whole struggle of like independent comics, like pricing it like to compete with a Marvel and DC book, but also like this is a passion project, so like you know, we're not going to be able to do the numbers of a Batman or a Spider-Man, you know, book. But yeah, there's 22 pages of a main story in color by Gonzalo, and then there's
no advertisements though, and that's always my favorite part about Kickstarter books. You don't have 8 pages of ads to deal with.
Yeah, and 4 pages of a backup by Wilson. Each issue is going to have a 4-page black and white gray tone prequel that like tells a tale of the agents before they were in.
That's fun.
Eagle.
So at some point they'll all have names.
Yes, at some point I will. At some point when I sit down to fully iron out, like you know, the singer is named in this one. Yeah, we'll name them all there.
I still nominate Kevin.
Yeah, I wrote Kevin down. He's gonna have to be like my love of Stan Lee. He's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be.
His name should be Kevin, but everybody should ask him if it's Devin, and he should be like, "No, it's like Kevin, but with a K, or like it's like Devin with a K."
What happens if his name was Kevin Devin?
Devin Kevin Smith. There you go.
Yeah.
Kevin crap.
Some dumb reason that he's just like, no, it's this, but this. Like, why does he have to explain it? It should just make sense. It's Kevin, you know, like Devin with a K.
Not that difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone. Yeah. No, you were gonna talk about this.
Oh no, the part of the research angle of this is this is an actual event that kind of took place that I interjected the Metal Eagle guys in.
Interesting.
Sometime in the 80s, the KGB tried to poison a BBC reporter that had information. They had ricin on the tip of an umbrella. God, and when he was walking over the bridge, they poked him with it. And him thinking nothing of it. Oh, that was just an honest mistake. Somebody poked me with my umbrella. But then he got really sick afterwards. To point to the sort of research and interjecting these fictional characters into real life events. This is part of it right here. So
yeah, I like that intersection of things that actually happened, and
I knew that sounded
characters coming
somewhat familiar for some reason. I was like, did this actually happen?
Yeah, and then in issue 2, Ertan Sihan, who I've worked a lot with, he does a story that's set in Cuba. There was a story where the CIA would put listening devices on cats and then just sort of like send them out to hope that people would like pick them up and listen.
And just spill their deepest, darkest secrets to the cats, obviously.
Yeah, so we do a story with that. Noah does a backup in 3 where he does the art. There was a ambassador that went to a school, and they presented him with a plaque at the end, like, hey, to commemorate your visit to our school, here's a plaque. And he went and put the plaque up in his office, but he didn't know that the CIA switched out the plaques and put one that had a bug in it. So they were able to sort of listen to everything he had said for years before he discovered that the plaque that some elementary school kid gave him was, a listening device. So
wow,
it's crazy. Google crazy CIA 80s 90s missions. There's plenty of story material to mine there.
Yeah, sometimes the real world is crazy enough, like more
Oh, no,
creatively crazy than a story that you can come up with.
I don't think anybody could have written what happened with my passport. I don't think you can come up with that. That is pure chaos incarnate.
You were stressing me out.
I didn't get my passport until 3 p.m. the day Noah and I flew out.
Oh, wow.
And I applied for it on January the 5th. Nobody could tell me where it was or like what was happening or what was going on. And then it got marked as shipped the Monday before I fly out on Wednesday. So on Tuesday at 9 p.m., my contact at the governor's office is like, hey, there are 2 options. You can hope it shows up and it just never got scanned. Or you could be in DC at 8 a.m. and hope there's the same day passport appointment that we could book for you. And I said, okay, we'll do that one. Got my ass up, 8 a.m. I'm in DC. Same day passport appointment at 11. I get up to the window at 11:22 and they're like, what are you here for? And I'm like, I need a passport. And they're like, but why? It's gotten delivered. And she just turns the computer to me. 11:22 a.m. delivered in mailbox.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you don't understand. I live 4 hours away. I leave from here at 10:45. No. They knew who I was when I walked in that building. Like that's how like emergent situation we had going on. And she was like, well, and I was like, I'm gonna call my contact. You're gonna go talk to your supervisor or your manager or literally anybody else in this building other than me at this moment. And you're gonna give me my passport. And she was like, well, and I just like turned around and picked up the phone and I was like, hey, I'm being told no. And he was like, I got this. Hangs up, calls somebody in the back, and she comes back and she's like, okay, it's fine. I was like, give me the passport.
Yeah. Do you know what building you were in DC?
The National Passport Office on like 19th and E. There's a letter.
My day job is I'm Homeland Security, so I was just trying to figure out.
I should have been asking you for help.
I'm in cargo. I don't.
I know so many. Listen, I know I work in a military town. The amount of regulars I know that work in the State Department that just don't have a contact at the passport agency.
Yeah, I always. Years ago, when there was the border crisis, and unfortunately, like all of the children were being locked up, and I would be like, I've never been to the southern border, and I work in cargo. We
have border patrol because we're on the water, so we technically have border patrol all around. They just drive around Norfolk looking for questionable things. I guess I don't know what they do.
Something.
They look a lot like cops, but they're not cops. But they look a lot like cops.
Very true.
We can wrap things up here, but before we go, I wanted to mention these tiers at the end here, the artist proofs, because Gonzalo does all of his art digitally, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, everything is digital. So
it's not unfortunate. Art is art as long as it's not AI.
Yeah, no. I said unfortunately. I would just love
not unfortunate.
Like, pen, paper, like
be able to like.
You're not going to get a physical thing.
Yeah,
from the original, but the artist proofs are always a cool way to see that.
Yeah, I have a Mikhail Janin from Batman.
I know who that is.
And it's a written by Tom King. It's an artist proof, so it's digital.
That's dope.
It's only going to be printed once at 11 by 17, like it's on a board, and it comes with a COA that's like, hey, this is from the artist. It's only going to be printed one time. You have our word that like we're not going to mass produce this. It's a one of a kind.
That's nice.
So it's as close to like OA piece with like, you know, pen and paper on a board
Mhm.
that you can get. So that, yeah, we're doing that. There's a couple of spots for commissions that are left. There are 70 bucks. That's a Psylocke that
That's a great price.
yeah, that Gonzalo did for me in the past. So I use that as the sample. You know, my collection of Psylocke art continues to grow. So, but yeah, no, I mean, Gonzalo's been in like Rumble. He did a couple of pages in Rumble. So
Okay.
to get a piece from Gonzalo for 70 bucks is a steal.
Nice. Yeah.
He's actually probably pricing it a little lower than, no, not actually. He is pricing it a little bit lower for me as part of a Kickstarter for the amount of time and
That's nice of
quantity that you would get from that. So
Ooh.
And then there's also a T-shirt that has a bunch of tiers that it's a part of.
yeah,
Shirt by itself, and then this is the with a comic tier.
yeah, I have a better T-shirt design that Gonzalo recently worked. To remove that sort of white box around it. It'll be like a regular sort of band T-shirt,
Nice.
where the logo will be like, you know, silver or white on the black, all black. That's just me with my inability to make cool graphics.
Like, imagine this, but cooler.
Yeah.
So I'll switch that out soon. One of my hopes is that I'd like to do a different band T-shirt for each of the
that's awesome.
issues. Like one of the characters that's in this book that they need to get some information from. He's a aging sort of British rocker. Think Ozzy Osbourne, and he's in a band called Chaos Cult. So I want to make like a Chaos Cult T-shirt. So hopefully each time you can get a different band T-shirt.
I like that. That's great.
Yeah. Unique T-shirts.
Yeah, and then
like, you know, I'm a fan of Metal Eagle. You know, I listen to their stuff.
Like, yeah, and then you can be like the snooty like music snob. Like, I knew them before they
were.
Yeah, I was there from the start. Look at my Kickstarter T-shirt. I'm a real fan, not one of you.
I'm a real boy.
Not one of you posers that like came around when they got big, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got 11 days left. Yeah,
I'm a little bit stressed, not terribly stressed. Normally I'm a crazy Kickstarter refresher. Anybody who listens to our podcast knows that I ask people that, like,
how often are you refreshing?
Yeah, there's a lot of people watching it, so that gives me some confidence.
Maybe they're just waiting for payday.
Yeah. So it's that standard Kickstarter: start off hot, plateau 2-3 a day, and then spike at the end. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's going to be the case here. So
we're waiting on that final spike, and we're sitting in the plateau right now.
Yeah. I think today was a pretty decent day. I think there was 3 backers. It's been one of those campaigns where I don't think I've had a day. I'm probably going to jinx myself. I don't think I've had a day where I haven't got a backer. You know,
that's good.
That's it's always fun. You know, I'm trying to concentrate on the number of people who are backing it, and not that number, monetary number that I have to hit to make it. It's like it's super cool that like 91 people are interested into it, and I get to, you know, give it to. So I'm trying to concentrate on that number and not the. I mean, they both work together. So like that. It's like, it's just really cool to be like 91 people want this, like,
right.
So,
but yeah, if I guess if you have 91 that do the $3 digital versus 91 that do a mix
Yeah.
of the tiers.
All the extra goodies.
Yeah, and I always feel bad when I run a Kickstarter and somebody is like, "Oh man, I only have $3 to give." I'm like, don't send me a message like apologizing. Like,
Yeah, get
I'm
that.
thrilled that you like it enough that like you just want to read it. So like, yeah, if somebody sends me a message it's like, "Oh, I really wish I could do this and do this, but I only have $3." I'm like, please don't apologize to me. Like, it's awesome that like you want this, and it's like I can click a button at the end of the campaign and give it to you almost like right away. So
Oh yeah.
and the book is done. Part of my hope here is that, you know, I can see that backer count go up. I can see it get closer. What I'd really like to do is just sort of prep the files, have the files like at the printer. Like, I never knew that like files to the printer. I know, Jeremy, you got some ideas. Getting the files to the printer the right way is always an adventure, but like I'd like to like do that.
Get the proof.
Have them tell me that everything is fine. You know, Kickstarter's funded. You know, wait that
everything's actually good to go. Can go, will go.
Right.
Business and just hit that like let's do it, guys. Hit the, you know, I'm hitting the print button. You know, start printing them. Domestic printer, printer that I've worked with before. So yeah, I want to do this as quickly as possible. I'm really, this is probably the thing that I've done that I'm the most excited about. It's taken a while. There's been a lot of twists and turns, as we said earlier. It was someplace before some things happened.
It's been taking its sweet time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, do you want this back?" And I'm like, you know, I've been sitting on it for so long. Yeah, give it back to me. Let's get this out into the world.
Because where it was supposed to be before, you needed to have like everything done.
Yes.
Before it would go to print for that place.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it was so like I would report in like periodically. I'm like, "Hey, issue 3 is done. We're on the 4." They're like, "That's great, but that makes it look like you might be at like X date." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then when I got the message, they're like, "Hey, you know, we're gonna pause everything. You can continue to wait." I'm like, I've waited long enough. We gotta get this out into the world.
If you want it later, because I know where it was supposed to be, they do stuff on Kickstarter. You know, they don't shy away from Kickstarters per se.
Yeah. So I will
say,
like a little bit of like inside baseball. There are some places that this might move to, but what, you know, the Wilson's cover and Clint's cover, like those are only going to be for Kickstarter. Like, so like if this does go somewhere and it comes out, like it'll be that main cover, that's Gonzalo's cover. So like this will be your only opportunity for those. So like there's a bit of an incentive to doing a Kickstarter. So like, you know, a lot of
shirts.
You'll back something on Kickstarter and then like, you know, 3 to 4, 6 months later you see it in previews. I want it to be like, you know, you're getting something that you won't get because
you couldn't get that way.
Yeah,
you were here with us on the ground floor, but before it was this thing. So that's why I'm excited about, you know, different covers and stuff like that. So
awesome.
Yeah, and Wilson, you know, I feel like Wilson's gonna blow up. I mean, all these guys are gonna blow up, but I feel like Wilson is maybe next in line to blow up.
Every time I see his art, it gets better. Like his art on Toy with Brett is so good. Like I feel like I'm watching an animated series looking at his art, and it's so different from like what we see in the short in this and what you see from when he did Paranormal Hitman. It's like he's got some range.
He definitely does, yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was the guy that kind of found Gonzalo and brought Gonzalo. I'm sorry, I'm wrong name. Wilson and brought Wilson to come with our first Kickstarter we did 5-6 years ago. So
yeah. Now now Brett's taken him and ran with him.
This is mine.
We share them. We're like, hey, you know, if he's not busy, can he come over here and do this thing for me? So
yeah. Well, where can people find you and follow along with what's going on with Metal Eagle and everything else you're working on?
Yeah, so I think maybe the easiest place would be my webpage, which is mattkund.com, my name with a .com at the end of it. You know, I have the buttons. I don't know why I keep pointing at things, but
click all the stuff in the things.
Yeah, you go to my webpage. There's a Twitter icon. There's a IG icon. I'm trying to work on my Substack a little bit. I will not. If you sign up for my Substack, I will not hammer you with emails all the time. Even with this campaign, it was like launch day, midway point. I'll probably be touching with people like towards the end, but you know, it also like I love to like point out other, you know, creative things that are going on by other people, like you know, Tyrant Fall.
Yeah, Brennan.
I pointed out those guys. They're local to me. Nice.
Yeah, little Tyrant Fall stuff over there.
Very cool. Yeah. So like, it's not exclusively like my stuff on my Substack. I'll be like, hey, you know, check this out. You know, I had a podcast that's here, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mattkund.com. Search Metal Eagle on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Got the Kickstarter link down below if you're watching this later. I've dropped it in the live chat a few times if you're watching live.
Thank you.
I think your Instagram, Twitter, and the website linked below as well.
One of them will take you to all the others.
Yeah. Click on it on the things down here.
Do a clicking adventure. See what happens.
Choose your own adventure.
Do some things. Don't worry about it.
Do not click on my OnlyFans because that's, you'll be if you think my Kickstarter is struggling, my OnlyFans is really struggling.
Maybe that's the vibe.
Yeah.
Who are we to judge?
You do know you're not supposed to just post pictures of fans, right?
Yeah. It's not only supposed to be pictures of actual factual fans.
It's just like me going, hey, do you know I have a Kickstarter going on? They're like, this is not what you're supposed to use this
That's
for.
not what this is for, sir. Please read the community guidelines.
You violate the guidelines by not posting enough other things.
I'm an old white guy just trying to tell you to buy my comic. They're like, this is not what we came here for.
We are not Rihanna.
No.
Well, thanks for coming back again, Matt. Hopefully
Always hanging out.
Some more action here on Metal Eagle because it's an awesome comic. Caroline and I have both read it. I have a review I wrote for it over on the You Promise Me Comics website.
I just immediately wanted more, so how dare you?
Yeah. So let's see this number just blow it out of the water. So anybody watching later, go back it at whatever tier that you feel you can support at. If you can't support, you don't have the money right now, tweeting about it, reposting it, sharing it out there is always the best support any campaign can receive because it provides more exposure.
Totally.
So tell your friends, tell your mom to back it, your grandma, anybody who's a fan of metal or rock or
go ask people at your local comic shop. Your I couldn't remember the word for clerk. Damn. Your clerk might not know about it.
If you see a dude with like long hair and like a jean jacket with like a whole bunch of metal patches on it, just be like, hey dude, you should check out this comic book.
Do you like metal and spies and
do you like Eagles? Do you like America? 80s? Fuck yeah.
If you don't back this comic, you are not American. No.
He works at Customs. He can say that.
I will plead the fifth and not say
Doesn't
anything.
have any weight, but he could say it.
In my official capacity, I will not say anything about that.
But yeah, thanks again, and best of luck with the last bit of the campaign here.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone who's been watching, and have a nice night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.